Hello, hello. Day 43 of my 100-day meditation experience. Welcome. Long time no see. So day 43 of my 100-day meditation experience. My name is Alan Brock, and my company is Ground Your Divinity. My passion, my love, is to awaken myself, to help awaken other people. Hello, hello. To help awaken other people to their deep inner nature, their deep inner being, their true self, to begin to live from that place, to uncover their passion, to release any fears, anxieties, whatever's in their way, and really develop and project and offer to the world their value and the power of their true self. And to do that with myself and do that with other people is what I love to do. So if you are into that at all, please connect. My email address is on my profile. Feel free to say hey, and we will figure out some way to help you be the best you that you can be. I am doing a 100-day meditation experience where I meditate 2 hours a day and offer insights that have come to me or just what my experience is about for however it serves all of you guys out in Scope Land. So, day 43, no doubt. Since I've started this, my awakening, my awareness, my presence, my ability to handle the wonkiness on the surface of life has grown exponentially. My tapping into my own power, my own passion, my own authenticity is very much increasing day by day by day. And I'm having a really great time. The fact that it is 6 o'clock in the morning, I've had like an hour and a half sleep and I'm still going, and it's really not as big a deal. I don't necessarily recommend that all the time for anybody. I'm just saying the fact that I'm alive and well and kicking is also a testament to this idea of meditation and of opening our deep inner being and receiving nurture and energy from that and letting the surface just kind of be as it is. So the insight today that I wanted to share was on relationships and connecting with other people. So all of our relationship experience, everything going on in our outside, whether it's relationships or anything, everything in our outside world is a direct projection or direct reflection of what's going on in our inner world. And so every relationship we have with others, the quality of those relationships is directly determined by the quality of the relationship that we have with ourselves. And so above all, cultivating this inner sense of being, this inner awakening, this connection to our soul, to our true self, to the spaciousness inside, helps improve all the other relationships in our life. And just a few simple, brief insights into kind of how all of that works and also how to work with other people. If you decide to be a helper, a healer, an advice giver, there's some things in my experience that I have learned that work and some things that do not work. And I will share those as well. So, we all have, of course, anxieties, fears, angers, frustrations, all kinds of emotions. We have thoughts that go on. We have our own surface experience. As we begin meditating, as we begin doing spiritual type practices, this spaciousness opens up within. And it's something that I can say in words, but really it has to come through your own personal experience to be really fully understood. So I would offer that you, even starting 5 minutes a day, practice some sort of meditation. Do something to get grounded in your body. Tap, shake, bounce, dance, groove, whatever works, to feel your body and get grounded, and then sit and breathe and allow the spaciousness to open inside, allow the energy of God and of spirit, or whatever you want to call it, the universe, to begin to saturate your being. And as that happens, and you open more and more deeply, all those surface things and deep subconscious things, fears, thoughts, whatever, surface and begin to release. As they release, your inner space opens more and more fully. More stuff comes up and releases, and your inner space opens more fully, and deeper energy can open into and saturate your being. And as that presence begins to grow, all of the outside stuff you see more for the illusion that it really is. And as you see that for the illusion that it is, it's much easier to allow it to be and simply just to roll with it. Most of the issues we have in life and the negative experiences, things happen for sure, but then we prolong it because of our resistance to it. Anger surfaces or fear surfaces, and we don't want to deal with it in the moment. We start pushing away the anger. Oh my God, I don't want to feel that right now, or it's not right to feel that right now, or whatever. We start resisting what we're feeling in the moment. We attach ourselves to that emotion or to that thought, and then we try to push it away. And think physics, right? Newton's third law, not to get too technical on you guys, but Newton's third law says for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Or in a book that I love, Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh, W-A-L-S-C-H, Conversations with God, Neil Donald Walsh. One of the things he says in there is what you resist persists, right? So as you have all these things surface and you resist them and you deny them or you try to push them away, it plants them more firmly in your experience. Instead, with whatever's going on, as you just allow it to surface and release and just let it come up and let it go, it just moves through your being and it releases and then it's gone. The more we open to this spaciousness inside, the more we allow deep energy and presence to saturate our being, the more the surface stuff we recognize as just surface stuff. We realize it's not really who we are. It's much, much easier to drop our resistance to it. And as we drop our resistance to it, the easier, then it just begins to release on its own and just let go as a part of our experience. And actually, then we can encounter more and more lower vibrational negative stuff, and it just passes right through us and doesn't get stuck at all. As we begin to cultivate this as well, we begin to recognize the difference between our ego and our true self. And we recognize that all, at least this is what my experience is and with a lot of people that I've talked to, we begin to open and recognize that all of the emotional stuff, all of the negativity, all of the wonkiness, even positivity too. Emotions come in good and bad flavors. There's fear, there's excitement, there is hate, there is love, all the above. Now there is a deep oneness, sense of love and connection that is a pure love, a pure joy underneath. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the surface stuff. There is a surface level of duality of love and hate, fear and excitement, anxiety and passion and whatever, that's a surface existence where we go back and forth between these opposites. And we want to keep the good stuff and let go of the bad stuff. Well, when we do that, blocking out half our experience, first of all, keeps that stuck, and then second, begins to block everything. The more we can open to all of this, let go of our resistance, over time, the goods and the bads on the surface level begin to release, and we see all of it for the illusion that it is, and then we open to a deeper sense of pure joy, of unconditional love that knows no opposite. And that opens to our being. That is our true self. That is our true nature. That is where the Spirit of God resides inside of us and who we really are. As that happens, we begin to recognize this surface world more and more, and we don't put that much stock into it. So when we feel these thoughts, these emotions, these things come into our being, or anger comes up, judgment comes up. We're like, oh, that's not really me. Hey, judgment, what's going on? Hey, anger, hey, whatever. It's not who I am, no big deal. And we just allow it, we accept it, trusting the deep presence. Thank you very much for the hearts. Trusting the deep presence and the unconditional love that is our true nature. As we begin to open to this inside of ourselves and see this inside of ourselves, we begin to see this inside of other people as well. And we begin to see the difference between their ego and their true self. We see their surface existence of their angers and their frustrations and their fears and their whatever, and we see their true unconditional love and their being deep inside. And so then when they begin to come at us, because life happens and we're still working and growing in our perfection of our presence. And so we all fall into ego occasionally. It just happens, some more than others, some less than others, but we all fall into it. Well, as that happens, if you're interacting with somebody, if you're in your surface ego and they're in their surface ego and both of you are unconscious, that's where arguments, that's where frustration, that's where, getting mad and hitting and hurting and all of that kind of stuff happens from that level. If you can stay awake and be conscious, right on, and be aware of what's going on, somebody else may be in their egoic state, but because you are deeply conscious of who you are and of your true nature, you can see their true nature. Even if they're operating up here right now, you see them for who they really are. And just like you can accept the funkiness in yourself and just be like, oh, I'm just having a judgment again. It's okay. It's not really me. Or I'm just having anxiety right now. It's okay. It's not really me. And you can just roll with it and let it release. As you stay here and people are coming at you from this place, you see their true nature. And so you can allow them to come from this place without needing to react. You don't need to play that game anymore because you realize it's not really them. It's their surface existence, their ego that's coming at you. And so you can love them for the unconditionally amazing, emotions are our visitors. You can love them for the amazing, unconditionally loving, beautiful soul that they are, and accept that they might have forgotten temporarily. They might be operating from the surface existence right now, but you can just see this inside of them and just allow this to be as it is. It's not to say to be stepped on. It's not to say to have somebody violate your space or to be a doormat. That's not what I mean. If somebody is really coming at you and in a way that violates your space or whatever, stand up for yourself. Stop that in a gentle and loving way and say, time out, no, and get that out of your space. I'm not saying to be stepped on, but I'm saying to not engage at that level, at the anger, the argumentative level. That's what I'm saying. Stay from a clean, clear presence place. In fact, Eckhart Tolle talks a lot about this when he talks about the difference between presence and the pain body and working with other people as well. So I highly recommend you look at his stuff too. But most of our negativity, discontents, and relationships come from they're at this place, we lose our consciousness, we go to this place, and then arguments and all kinds of stuff results, and figuratively, they hit us with a hammer, so we get a bigger hammer and we hit them back, and then they get a bigger hammer and hit us back, and we just do this until everybody just explodes. Just adds extra negative mojo to the world and doesn't serve anybody. As we begin opening and deepening in our presence and can stay conscious even when somebody else is coming up what is like this, we can allow them to be in that space and just offer love. And in that consciousness, in that love, one, we don't react. So that whole bigger hammer thing never happens, right? Two, they begin to feel that presence. And actually, if we can hold that frequency of consciousness, after a little while, most people, unless they're very highly unconscious, in which case, if they're highly unconscious and they keep staying at this level, they realize you're not going to engage them, they're going to leave. Or if they're remotely conscious, they will begin doing this. You can keep this frequency, keep this consciousness, and they will be like, wait a minute, something will begin to wake up inside them, and they will wake up, realize what they're doing, and they will come down to this level with you. And you can then both be at this level. Either way, no argument has been created, no extra pain has been put into the world. We haven't said things that we regret later on, and all kinds of negative stuff that happens from being at this place. So really and truly, no worries, brother. It'll be on replay for 24 hours, and I also will upload it to my YouTube and Facebook page, so you can catch it there as well. Just search Ground Your Divinity. I'm a little bit behind in my video uploading, so it'll take me a little while to get all these up there. I do a number of different things. My real passion that I'm opening to and cultivating right now is as a spiritual coach, a life and wellness coach, a life passion coach, a help you release your anxiety coach. Thank you. I appreciate that. As a just help you be the best you can be, centered in a pure, connected with spirit kind of a place, and letting that flow out into your life, whether it's through diet, exercise, nutrition, emotional release, spirituality, meditation, living your passion, finding your dream, whatever it is, that's what I'm here for. And so, awesome. So I would offer a couple things. One is I would say, please follow me, and you can catch my Scope broadcasts. And I like to offer value as I can and hope that enlightens you guys in some way. Also, my email address is on my profile, so please email me, connect, and I offer a free, no obligation, whatever, just a free, from my service for the world and to you, 1.5 hour consultation. We can do it if you're in Houston. We can get together in Houston in person, or I actually live in the Woodlands. I prefer to meet out of my house, because I find that it's more convenient rather than meeting in some third-party location if we have a nice contained environment where we can really open up and be deep without worrying about the people in Starbucks or whatever. I think that's relative, brother. So anyway, if you want to connect in person, we can do that. Skype is an option. Phone is an option. But some way to... like I said, connect for 1.5 hours for a free consultation to help you be the best you that you can be. If I can see things that you're not seeing or offer insights or whatever. You can't concrete it when you see their eyes. I don't quite know what you mean, brother. So yeah, if you could clarify that. But yeah, anybody out there, connect with me via email. We can do the 1.5 hour consultation for free. And then if at that point, concentrate. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And then, so basically, gotcha. Can't look them in the eyes. I have noticed in my own experience, that comes from low self-confidence. That comes from, there's a piece of ourself, as we look somebody in the eyes, we know that, because the eyes are the window to the soul, right? So we are, one, we are opening to seeing their true authentic self. And two, we know that we are opening ourselves to be seen as our true authentic self. And that's scary for a lot of people. And so the depth with which we can look at ourself, the depth of connection and of self-love and of confidence we have with being able to look at our deep inner being unabashedly, is directly correlated to how much we will allow others to see our deep inner being unabashedly. Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. Definitely about self-confidence and knowing who you are, for sure. So I would say if it's difficult to concentrate and look somebody in the eyes, part of it may just be a mental focus thing. Like when you're looking at somebody, you just literally lose focus. So cultivating the ability to focus, like if you're meditating, count your breaths is a great way to build that. There's all kinds of methods, but as you meditate, just, breathe and just count 1, 2, you can count in your head, and see if you can, how high you can get without losing count, without losing focus. See if you can get to 30, 50, get to 100. If you can get to 100 breaths without losing focus, and you can do that regularly, that is a great, great base level of focus that you can then take and do other things with. But then also, like I said, I've noticed in my own experience, a lot of it has to do with my own self-confidence. Right on. I haven't known it to be a specific left or right thing. I've just heard the eyes, on the whole, are the windows to the soul, but right on, right on. So yeah, the more self-confidence, the more deep connection to our authentic self we have, and the ability to look at ourself clearly, the more we can open up to other people and and allow them to see us more clearly and stay connected with the eyes. So I hope that helps. One other brief thought back to the relationship stuff we were talking about. Again, if we can hold that consciousness, then they don't come at us with this, or they don't for very long, because they're going to either leave or they're going to wake up. Either way, negative mojo wasn't added to the world. We didn't, say something we regret saying later on, or do something we regret doing later on. And so our relationships can stay in a very pure place. One other thing that I would offer to you guys from personal experience in working with people, both in a professional way in terms of the coaching, as well as just human interaction at all. There are a lot of times we see something in somebody else. We see some sort of a blockage, or we see some way that they're acting that can be fixed or modified. And we want to help them. And we want to say, hey, do you see that you're acting this particular way, and that doesn't really serve you or anybody else around you? I really think you ought to change and fix or do this way. And we want to offer that advice. A lot of times, that's not received very well. People don't want to hear that crap. And they're like, why are you fixing me? And, well, you should look at yourself and look at what you're doing, and then it starts this back and forth, right? So recognize that the energy with which we convey things, you're very, very welcome. You're very welcome. Like I said, follow me. Join these scopes on a daily basis. And please email me. I would be happy to connect. Good. Awesome. And yeah, send me an email. My thing is on my profile. For an hour and a half, we will just sit down or Skype or whatever and see where you are, what is important to you, what's in your way, and what clarity can we receive to help you be the best you can be. And then if we move forward into a coaching relationship as well, awesome. If you just get benefit from that hour and a half, awesome. And that's for right on. That's for anybody out there. Please connect. So the energy with which we give something is what is transmitted more important than the words. So if we see something in somebody that can be healed or helped or whatever, and we come at them from a place of, you should do this, you should fix this, whatever, and we're kind of going with this energy, what they receive is the energy of, I see this thing wrong in you, and you should do this. So that's where that back and forth comes. This person's coming with a, you should do this kind of energy. This person picks up on that and says, oh, you should do this. And we start playing on that level again. Instead, if we can shift and come from a place, first off, especially at the beginning, coming from a place from ourselves and saying, you know what? I have seen in myself that I do this thing. Because first of all, let's be honest. The darkness that we see in other people is generally a reflection of the darkness we see in our side of ourselves. What we see inside of others that we don't like is in some way something we see inside of ourselves that we don't like. That's why we notice it. So whenever we have issues with outside people, it's a great spiritual practice to turn that back around, to look at ourselves honestly, authentically, and say, what am I doing inside that is like this? What am I doing that is creating this kind of energy? What do I not like in myself that I'm seeing this as an external reflection of? And go back and heal ourselves first. Then we can come from a pure place to the other people. I've seen a huge transformation in my own relationships in life as I have done that. So, like I said, and rather than come with the energy of, you should do this, come from the place, or my recommendation would be to come from a place of, hey, you know what? In my walk, in my path, I have seen that I have sometimes come from a place of XYZ, or I have sometimes had anger overtake me and done this thing, or I have sometimes had laziness overtake me and I have done this thing, and I have acted in these ways, and I have healed myself through doing this, or I have had this deep insight and awakening to shift myself, and I feel like that might help you where you are. Bonjour. And offering it from that place of this is what I see inside myself and how I have changed, then they receive that energy and they begin to resonate with the vibe of, this is what I see in myself and this is how I change. And that's where true healing comes from. If we say you should do, they're going to come back with you should do. If we come back from here's what I have awakened to and here's what I have done, then they are much more likely to be in the place of, oh, here's how I can awaken and here's what I can do. Does that make sense? And so first, coming from that place, as we begin to open more and more deeply to that place and to that presence, and we release all judgment of the activity, it is possible to come from, it is on my profile. If you go to, I'll actually tell you here in just a second what it is as well, but if you go to my Periscope profile, click on Ground Your Divinity, and it opens up the little description about the company. My email address is on there. But also, it is Alan, ALAN, _D, _Brock, BROCK, the number 1, at msn.com. So ALAN, _D for Dwayne, _Brock, BROCK, the number 1, at msn.com. Or again, just when you click on my name in the replay or whatever, as you see this broadcast, click on Ground Your Divinity, and it'll bring up the description of the company, and at that bottom is my email address. So when we have negativity, wonkiness, whatever, towards something somebody else is doing, we typically have, like I said, a judgment inside of ourselves at that particular thing. And when we try to correct somebody or change somebody, if we're still coming from a place of judgment, they're going to feel that judgment and they're going to resist. Because they don't want to look at that behavior inside of themselves, because they're already, subconsciously, they judge themselves for it as well. At some level, they are aware. It may not be on the surface, but at some level, they are aware, and they are judging it themselves, and they're not allowing themselves to see it because of that judgment, because they can't face that inside of themselves, so they're not changing. If we come from a place of trying to correct through judgment, that just creates more judgment inside of themselves, and that's going to push them further and further away. So instead, right on. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. And best love and luck and blessings in your creation of that. And if I can help in any way, please connect with me and let me know. I'm happy to serve. So as we so it comes back to releasing our judgment first within ourselves. Everything comes down to our connection with ourselves. You're very welcome. Our connection with ourselves, and how much negativity and judgment and everything we have released within first. So if we can release that, if we can heal the judgment, hey, buenos dias. We can release that judgment inside. Then when we approach somebody else, yeah, actually, sure. My phone number, please guys, don't abuse this, but you are absolutely free to contact me. 281-702-3389. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. So 281-702-3389. Yeah, as we continue to heal ourselves and release that judgment, we can come from a very pure place to other people, from a place of unconditional love. Poco hablo español. Oh, you should stay with God and have an excellent day. Yeah, muchas gracias. Y tú también. Tú también. Vaya con Dios y ten un excelente día también. So as we can come from that authentic place of unconditional love and acceptance, when we approach somebody else, that is what fosters the healing. Then we can keep that level of consciousness, keep that that frequency, so to speak, and then from a very gentle place, offer them the awareness of, hey, here is how you're being, here is where you're being, and how you're showing up in the world, not from judgment, from just helping them to open to the awareness of their how they're showing up in the world. It really helps. This idea of a compliment sandwich, I don't know if you've heard that term before, but offer something good, offer the area they can then correct or shift. I live in the Houston area, north of Houston, in the Woodlands, about 30 miles north of Houston. Offer what they can correct, and then offer something else that's good. Like, hey, John, I noticed this thing that you've been working on, and you're really growing in this area, and I think that that's awesome. I really applaud you for doing that, and that's great. Something else that I've noticed is that even though I know that inside you're trying, you have a pure heart, and you're trying to come across this particular way, what's happening is actually the way that you're showing up in the world is a little bit different, and you're coming across this way that I know you're trying to mean well, but it's coming across funny, and you're coming across with this vibe right now that is not really being how you want to be in the world. Thank you. God bless you too, and have a beautiful day also. So, like I said, give them credit for where they are. Hey, I know you mean well and you're trying to do this thing to help other people or whatever, but when you're coming across, sometimes it may be, for example, sometimes it's coming across as very antagonistic when you try to correct people, and I see that in you. And I know that you have a pure heart and you don't mean it that way, but just know that that's how you're showing up in the world. But I really applaud your efforts to try and make the world a better place. So again, you say, good, here's how to correct, here's what's good. So I see you're doing this, and it's awesome, and I applaud you for doing that. Here's this thing that I see where you're really coming from. My name is Alan, Alan, Brock, Brock. I see this thing here. You mean well, but it's kind of coming across this way. It's just something to be aware of, that you're not showing up, or that how you're showing up in the world is not really what your heart is trying to communicate. And then come back, but I really applaud you, and I see what you're trying to do, and I think that that's great, and I appreciate your efforts. So what's good, what can be corrected, what's good, and help to awaken them. And as we do that from a deep, loving, unconditionally accepting place, that awareness grows in them, and then they can feel that sense of unconditional love and acceptance that is coming from us as we communicate. Yeah, yes, ma'am, it is. It is. But that is our spiritual practice. That is our opportunity for growth. But I do understand completely and totally. And that's where the deeper connection we have with ourself and with our own inner being, through our own spiritual practice, our own meditations, our own connection with divine spirit within, makes that easier and easier and easier. But yeah, like I said, that is our own spiritual practice. Where we can come with that state of unconditional love and awareness, they will feel that. And then when they are saturated in that unconditional love and awareness, they will much more easily let themselves, awesome, glad to hear it. And you are so very welcome. God bless you too, and have a beautiful day. I'm glad it's been of value to you. They will much more easily be able to connect with, to be able to see themselves as they are. We tend to not want to look at ourselves because of the judgment we feel from ourselves or from other people, which really the other people's judgment is just a reflection of the judgment we have for ourselves. So when we correct, when we help educate people into how they're showing up in the world in ways that can be shifted, when we come from that unconditionally loving place, yeah, exactly. And I understand you, because that's how I came with most people in my life for a long, long time, until I finally woke up that didn't do any good, and it wasn't producing the effects that I wanted to. So I began to, first off, turn back in myself and say, what is it about me that can be, what this thing that the other person is doing that is pissing me off, how am I doing the same thing in my own way? How am I being a jerk in my own way? How am I being mean or, unconscious or uncaring or whatever? Good question. Hold that thought 1 second. So, how do I do those things in myself first? And I went back and healed those behaviors as much as I could in my own being. And that really began to help me open. And then again, from that openness and that acceptance and that love of ourselves, they will feel that energy when we come to them. And they will then much more easily be able to look at themselves and their behaviors without feeling judged. And that's where true change comes from, is the ability to look at oneself in a place of unconditional love and acceptance. So we cultivate that for ourselves because we are awake and we are aware. And then we offer that frequency, we offer that to other people that may or may not have done the practices that we have done, so that they can sit in that presence of unconditional love and awakening and awareness. And then they can accept their own judgments and release them and begin to let their behaviors transform as well. And that's how we can really begin to heal ourselves, heal those around us, let that flow to everybody, and one step at a time we will heal the world. We will create this heaven on earth place that we all know is possible. One step at a time. Cool. So why I do meditation? That's a great, and first off, I'm glad that you practice as well. I think that's great. The more we can connect to ourselves, like I said, one person at a time, one moment at a time, we can change the world. It will happen. Just keep going. Why I do it? It started off with a sense of just relief from anxiety. Just being able to cultivate a sense of peace and of presence and of this idea of me running around in the world with like a chicken with my head cut off and just right on. Well, fear and anxiety is a normal part too. That's part of the mind and the body cleansing itself. I'll give you a tip for that here in just a moment. And thank you for joining in. I really, really appreciate the fact that you joined and you're here to kind of part of a community to help gather comfort in that way. And I wish you love and blessings and peace on your path so that you can go back into your meditation with renewed spirit. And like I said, I will offer a technique here momentarily to help you with that also. But yeah, I started off doing it for a little bit. I'll give you a great resource for that here in a minute, that a gentleman that knows far more about it than I do. And then after I started opening and noticing so many other benefits beyond just peace, just this presence, this ability to handle life and multiple tasks while being calm and centered, my relationships beginning to improve, my opening up to my passion, living from that place, being able to help, coach, guide other people. There's more benefits to meditation than I could possibly mention in 24 hours worth of a scope. I think there's probably more than we could mention in a lifetime. But I personally started for a little bit of spiritual awakening, and just because way back in the day somebody said, hey, you ought to meditate, and I started reading about Buddhism and I started meditating. I fell out of it for a while, and then as I got back into it, it was more from a place of just anxiety and being lost in the outside world. Right on. I was raised Christian as well. And so just being lost in the outside world, and as I've meditated, I've opened up to so many benefits. So yeah, very briefly, I was raised Christian, not to step on anybody's toes by any means, religiously or anything like that. I have in my path awakened to the idea that Jesus is and was an enlightened master, and all of the things that have come through him, to me, all the miracles, even the resurrection, make complete and total sense. as we begin to recognize that this world is a surface layer, right on, man. Thank you. And yes, absolutely. I respect myself deeply, and I respect all others deeply. And ultimately, we're all one person in different bodies anyway. There's only one of us here, you know? So yeah, as we recognize that this existence is just on the surface, and that there's a much deeper, pure realization. Nice awareness. Good job. Hang on, just go ahead and type it in, but hang on 1 second for me to answer it. Let me finish the other train of thought. But then, yeah, please, ask your question. And if I don't answer it, then you feel free to ask again. But as we open up to this surface existence, this deep inner sense, we realize that this is all kind of a surface illusion, so to speak, then this can be manipulated. And to me, the idea of turning water into wine, the idea of raising the physical body back from the dead, all that stuff makes perfect sense. I can get into the, and I'm not going to right now, but just the science behind it, how the different logistics would actually work, all that stuff makes perfect sense. For now, right now, though, I'll just say all the miracles, everything that Jesus did, totally get it. Totally get it. To me, where the disconnect is personally, and like I said, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. Just for me personally, it's where it was, this is the one and only way, and you have to go through this, otherwise, and for God to love you and accept, well, God loves you either way, but to be saved, you must do this, and if not, you go to hell. To me, I wouldn't say or the meditation is esoteric. Personally, I've experienced that as I open more deeply to meditation. Right on. So actually, yeah, then I'll kind of add that question about Muhammad into all this as well. As I open to deep meditation, and to my experience, right on. As I open to deeper and deeper experiences, what I begin to see is that all of the great teachers, all of the great masters have been saying the same thing in slightly different ways. And all are pieces of and reflections of the truth. And in fact, I read once in a book that I love, I mentioned this earlier, Conversations with God by Donald Walsh, Walsch, Walsch. In there it was said that if all great spiritual leaders, if all great political leaders, if all great world leaders would just stand up and say, my way is not the only way, it is just another way, that would be one of the greatest steps we could possibly take towards, I don't know much about Freemasonry, the whole Illuminati idea. I've heard goods and bads. I have really let go of doing any investigation on it, and let go of forming any personal opinion on that. So I'll let you kind of come to that one on your own, brother. But our way is not the only way. It is just another way. And that is one of the greatest things that we can do to cultivate a sense of peace and harmony with the world, is just, if you follow Muhammad, follow Muhammad. If you follow Jesus, follow Jesus. If you follow Buddha, follow Buddha. That's awesome. Ultimately, all truth is just truth. Different enlightened masters have woken up in their own way and conveyed that truth in slightly different forms. And that is we've created religions around it. And if you follow those practices, that's cool. But recognize that other people find the truth in their own way, in their own forms, is the way that I see it personally right now. And that all are, like I said, just different facets of the truth. So it's very common. So as we meditate and go more deeply inside, we awaken to all of the crap that we have inside. Deeply inside, we are truly, at the deepest level, truly connected to spirit, to God, to oneness, to whatever you want to call it. That unconditional unified field, that unified being, the deep sense of spirit of God. And that's who we are at the deepest level. God is the all in all, it says in the Bible, right? Spirit is all. Everything is oneness, however you want to phrase it. That being said, because we are human, we exist in a world of duality. We exist in a world of good and bad, right, wrong, up, down, left, right, this world of opposites, which is with purpose. We put ourselves, or our souls put us, or God put us. Like I said, it's all just a matter of perspective. Cool. Yeah. No worries. No worries. We put ourselves in this world of good, bad, right, wrong, so that we can experience the duality, and experiencing duality and experiencing darkness. We know ourselves as the light inside, or God, the Spirit of God knows itself as the pure essence of being that it is, because it sees something that it is not. I've given a better description, a more expanded description on that before, and I'm happy to do so. Actually, if you want to email me at some point, we can set up a brief Skype or a phone call or something like that, and I can happily go more deeply into this. Just in terms of logistics, I've been doing the scope thing for a little over 2 hours now. Right on. Yeah. So pretty soon I'm going to log off because I would like to get a little bit of sleep, and I have a very important. Yeah, definitely. Give me a call and we'll connect. But yeah, I have an important presentation tonight. I'd like to get some sleep for here momentarily. Yeah, and I definitely, as you awaken inside, because there is no, start with 5 minutes if you want to build the habit. 5 minutes a day is great. I would build to 10, 15, even if you can go 30 or 40. That'll really open you up to a deeper level. But at first, build the habit. 5 minutes is beautiful. So yeah, as we, I guess, to wrap up the idea with, and I love you guys. I'm not going to answer any more questions. I'll finish this train of thought, but then the other stuff, just please feel free to follow me, connect, or email me if you want, or connect on these scopes and bring up other questions in the future. I am so happy to serve. But after I finish this train of thought, I am going to it depends on how they're done. Again, just my opinion. So like I said, I'll finish that, and then I'm going to sign off and do a couple little things and see if I can catch a little bit of sleep. We'll see. I'm actually pretty much past the point of no return at this point, but that's okay. You're very welcome. So this is a surface existence. There are much deeper and deeper realms where spirits reside, and that, you know, people are there before birth, and people go there after death that are not in physical form anymore. I fully believe as we awaken to our deep inner being, we can access those other realms. So you talking to your father on the other side, yeah, totally makes sense. I have friends who are mediums and psychics and things like that, and definitely have a connection to the outside, or to the other side. I don't think there's anything wrong or bad with that. I do feel that there are negative energies as well as positive energies, and to be conscious of what we allow into our being. I will also say that as we go deep inside, because we live in a world of, you know, good and bad, we have brought a lot of negative energy over the years into ourselves, a lot of repressed emotions, anxieties, fears, negative perspectives, all that kind of stuff. That as we begin to open more deeply to our inner being, all that stuff begins surfacing. Like when you were talking about being scared earlier, fear exists. Once you experience fear, if you repress it, it stays as an energy stuck inside of your body, as an energetic blockage. So when we begin to open through meditation, we go back in and we feel that, and it's kind of like, hey, you didn't want to look at me the first time and you repressed me, so now I'm coming back up to see if you'll look at me this time and let me release. It's okay. That's a good thing. Having all that stuff surface and release is the natural healing process of the body and the mind. It's good to let those things come up. Some things to help with that process to make it easier to release. One is, before you sit down to meditate, get back in your body somehow. connect your mind with your body, and be grounded. So for example, something very simple, like if I'm tapping my chest like this or tapping my arms, my attention, my awareness is now on my arms, right? It's on my chest, which means my mind is with my body. It's not running around, it's connected with where my body is. I'm also a big fan, if you want to sit and, bounce your knees. Just sit, relax, close your eyes, and just bounce your knees for a little while. And just feel, it's about doing it consciously. Conscious movement with your attention and your awareness into your physical feelings. Bring your mind back into your body. Standing up, shake around and bounce a little bit, put your feet on the floor, just ground yourself. And just kind of move and groove, just very relaxed and chill, but with feeling. And feel free to get as intense as you want. It looks kind of funny. I promise. Do that for 15 minutes in a sincere way, and just feel your body. You will release thoughts and emotions and feel grounded in a way that a lot of people don't experience. It actually, like I said, it looks funny, can be quite therapeutic. But doing something to stay grounded, or to get grounded in your physical body, so then when you do sit down to meditate, you don't get as much taken over by the thoughts and the emotions. And then as you're in your practice, when those things come up and you begin to it's good that they come up. There's a difference between being attached to them and having the anger or the fear surface and let it take over and oh my God, that's me and I fear, or being the watcher, the observer consciousness that allows it to come up. It's like, okay, yeah, I have fear right now, cool, and then just let it release. The more we can maintain this observer consciousness, all this stuff begins to surface and release, and that's where the natural healing and the cleansing process is. To help with that, as you're, like I said, get grounded first, bounce, shake, tap, whatever works. As you're in your seated practice or you're lying down meditation, however you meditate, and you start to notice yourself getting lost in the thoughts or lost in the feelings or whatever, then gently squeeze your pelvic floor muscles. All the muscles underneath in your pelvic floor, gently squeeze those and just hold them. Or you can squeeze, multiple times, squeeze and release, but I personally like to just kind of squeeze and hold those muscles. It brings your mind directly back into your body in a very fundamental base chakra way, and brings your awareness deep into your body, and it's much easier to let thoughts and emotions go. And then when you feel yourself grounded again, just release. Go back to your breathing, back to your practice. Let that observer consciousness open. Let the other stuff just begin to surface and release and go. And then if you get lost again, no worries. Just squeeze those muscles, hold for a minute, bring your consciousness back to your body, back to the present moment, and then release. And little by little, you'll begin to develop the ability to stay grounded and present no matter what is releasing. And as all that stuff comes up, there's no reason to be afraid of the fear. It's a good thing that you experience that it's on its way out. Also, as you begin to release the negativity inside your own being and cultivate your own light, cultivate your own inner light, your connection to spirit and the spaciousness and the unconditional love and beauty and the high vibrational energy within you, then any other negative energies that you experience both from the physical realm and beyond, it's almost like you have a protective layer around you, so to speak. Either the energy comes in and passes right through, or it doesn't even come in at all. You're such on a different frequency than that, it doesn't even interact with you. So there's no reason to really be scared about things on the other side either. Just continue to cultivate your own positive, high vibrational energy, and then that stuff will just not even come in your space anymore. But it all comes back to connection with self, first and foremost. And when I say self, I don't mean ego, I mean true self. And by true self, I also mean spirit of God, oneness, the essence of the Christ consciousness, actually, the essence of your Buddha nature. All of these things are different ways of saying the same thing, in my opinion. So I really, really hope that serves you guys well. And I'm going to log off. I have a little bit more meditation to do for the day. The sun is up and shining. Probably not going to get a lot of sleep. That's okay. No worries. I hope it's helped. Please follow. Please feel free to connect with me at any time on the scopes and ask whatever questions you would like to. My email is on the profile. I do life and wellness coaching. So connect via email there. And I'm happy to serve how I can. I do an initial consultation for free. We can get together phone, Skype, email, in person if you're in the Houston area, whatever works. So, much love. Be blessed. I wish you all an amazing day, and I will catch y'all later. Bye-bye. Thank you. I'm glad to hear it. And I wish you a restful sleep whenever you go to sleep next as well. Thanks.